dear friends, once again. Hope you are fine and enjoying your stay at home. But be safe and take all the precautions. Today we'd like to speak about writing for television. Again, news and non-news system is here also. Okay, so that already I have explained in a radio issue and in a print media issue also. So we'll straight away go to news. Okay. Now let's talk about some of the advantages of this medium. This is an audio-visual medium. So in radio you have only audio, and through it you have to create an impact upon the people. Okay, there people are not going to see your face, or people are not going to see visuals. You cannot show visuals in radio, but only with your words you have to create an environment. You have to create a situation which people can imagine that they are actually seeing at it. Here, the biggest advantage is that you are having the advantage of both audio and visual, sound as well as scenes. So that makes a much bigger, far higher impact than radio. The way cinema makes a far bigger impact on people's mind than radio audio or print issues. Okay, the same thing applies here. This is the most biggest advantage of this medium. So effect is maximum on the people if you compare it to print medium and radio. Okay, even many a times web doesn't have that kind of a medium. Okay, I have that kind of an impact. Now you were looking at visuals along with the document. Along with the comments you were hearing from the newsreader or anchor. Okay, here your visuals should speak more. You must have already been familiar with the fact that a picture is worth 1,000 words. So a 5 minutes visual or 1 minute visual, 30 seconds visual should be worth many thousands of words at the same time. Okay. That is why you should emphasize more on visuals rather than comments. Exactly, we can't say how much visuals will be important and how much comments should be there, voice should be there. But I'll go for a fact that 70 to 80% visuals and 30 or 20% voice. Okay, the narration. So that will be my idea of a perfect, or not exactly perfect, but a good quality audiovisual program. Okay. Of course, it also depends upon how much visuals are actually available. It may not be available many a times. Many a times you have got the news, but the visuals are being difficult to be brought in because it may be a natural disaster, and the people are not being able to go to the actual place of happening. So in that case, you cannot show visuals. Only some, if satellite images can, imagery can show it to you, that will be your advantage. That will be your bad for you. But otherwise, if it is available, it should be up to 70 or 80%. Okay? Because your visuals should say everything. Okay. Now, there is a question of voiceover. Many a times, what I have heard, even in radio news also, many a times I have seen that just for the sake of it, they play voiceovers from somebody who is at the field of a disaster or a happening event. Okay, but most of the times, more than 50% of the times, what I have seen is that the person who is at the spot, the reporter who is the journalist who is at the spot covering the issue, he simply repeats what is being said by the anchor, or vice versa. The anchor has already said whatever has been spoken or whatever has to be said, and many a times, if they cannot send the journalist to the spot, just a simple face of the journalist is shown, and an impression is given that the person is speaking from the spot, and he or she is repeating almost 80% of the things which the news anchor has already spoken or commented. That should not happen. If you are giving a voiceover, that should add or that should give you some new clues or new developments about any event or incident which had happened, in addition to what the anchor person has already said. The newspaper news reader or the anchor person has already, news anchor has already said. Okay, only then it will make sense. Otherwise, there is no point repeating what the news anchor has said by the voiceover also, because already the reader, listener has got it. So it will rather lead to repetition. It will be better if you show visuals better. More than such a repetition of things through in the name of voiceovers. Now, writing scripts here again, like radio, your choice of words should be very minimal and very selective, so that less words. I have told you about the word laconic. Laconic means less words and more meaning. Less words, more meaning. Okay, so minimum words, maximum expressions. That is the most important advantage, the most important principle to be followed here. On a lighter vein, many of you must have received jokes or speakings about this person, I forgot his name, who was a minister in the earlier Congress government, and he was also the Under Secretary General of United Nations. He also contested for the post of Secretary General of UNESCO. Sosithar. There is a saying that he writes very complex English. He has studied in Oxford probably, or England and other places, very high profile areas. So maybe his writing has it's just a joke. Fine. Now your writing should not be like that. It should be straight, simple, and to the point. Okay. So similarly, your visuals should be straight, simple, and to the point. Okay. And many a times, I remember many years back, while I was in my probably 11th or 12th, Olympics were going to be held in probably Madrid or so, and that time only Doordarshan was available. The Doordarshan reporter, he was asked to do a story on football prospects of India. So what he did was, that time there was a very prominent player from Goa, Winston Churchill Brothers. Is a big club in Goa. Goa, West Bengal and Kerala were premiers in football that time. He was very prominent goalkeeper, and this goalkeeper was going to see he was going to attend the Olympics on a private basis. Now, the Doordarshan reporter has gone to ask him at the airport, "Sir, what would you like to say about the prospects of Indian football?" And Indian football even didn't go to the qualifying round. Fine. So that kind of, very stupid things should not be repeated. Okay. So you have come to know that audiovisual advantage is the biggest advantage than all the other media. It is almost real time. You can show things whenever what is happening, provided you can be able to reach the spot at the time when things are taking place. Okay. Voice and narration, or voice and visuals, they should play a supplementary and complementary role to each other. The way non-verbal communication and verbal communication support each other, that way narration and voiceover and visuals should be supporting each other. Otherwise, your visuals are showing something and your voice or narration is showing something. That should never happen. This lack of coordination will ultimately kill the story. Even if the story is a very breaking news, I think ultimately it will lose its effect and it will be a very dull and dread story. Okay. So voiceover, as I have said, it should be something new than what the news anchor have said. There is something here I would like to say. Nowadays things have changed. The same news person who is reading the news or anchoring the news should at times also are playing the role of a journalist in the field. That gives a much better impetus and the focus to the journalist and storyteller. Well, continuing with the discussions, nowadays, whenever you look at TV channels, news discussions, or panel discussions, or if you say like that, I mean, whatever you call it is, you will see a big chaotic situation. The reporter, most of the journalists, they are coming and just thrusting the microphone to the person. Anyway, what would you say? Apuni ki kobo if you speak in Assamese. So that is not the way how to conduct business. The thing is, it has taken television channels to such a situation that has become the norm. So don't follow those things. What I would like to say is, don't think that I am advocating for them. I have any personal gains out of it. BBC is a good one, and NDTV to a big extent was a good one, except Arnab Goswami at that point of time. But Pranoy Roy and Ravish Kumar, I personally feel that they are doing a good job whenever they are presenting programs on their own. Okay, that of course cannot be said to many others. Binod Dua is also fine to a big extent, though he has some issues. Okay. Anyway, thing is, if you look at BBC, the way how restrained they are whenever they are speaking about something or they are showing something, always make a note of such presentations. That should be the model which you should take up. Okay, because television, if you speak your voice louder, if you make your voice louder, if you narrate in a louder way, that doesn't mean that people are taking it. Okay. You have to have a background research we have already told you, but most of the time I feel that people are not doing any background research. They just need to do a audio visual and they just take a visual. They are not bothered. Even actually, we can't blame them. Their editors are also may not be that much literate in this regard. So they are asking their journalists that give a bite on COVID-19. Say today, there was some agitation in the Tesco University Quarantine Center. People were protesting, and you won't believe it. Nowadays, everywhere the media comes before anything else. Within 5 minutes or so, when the people came out as a protest against the district administration, the media persons were there, present there very much. Okay. And it was a big cacophony. Nobody was listening what was actually being said. Similarly, if you make a dramatic presentation, if you make a dramatic narration, if you make a dramatic, if you raise your voice, those are not qualities or not aspects which you should try while presenting something. You should go with your background research, or if it is a new sudden event, then you may not have a background research, because by the time you'll be doing your background research, the event will be finished. So the basic principle is that there should be minimum gap of time between something happening and your camera crew as well as yourself being present on the scene, whatever is happening, if it is a happening event somewhere. Okay, of course, if it is beyond a certain point of your city limits, then it is difficult, but it should be minimum gap of time. Or if you can get your visuals from somebody. Nowadays, because of citizen journalism and advantage of the mobile phones, most of the people are sending visuals, even many a times unnecessary visuals, but many a times, even out of those unnecessary videos, sometimes some videos you might be able to take, or you might be able to use in your news, if you can make sure that the source was authentic. But that is again another problem. At crisis time, when something has already broken, when something has already happened, how much time can you waste, or how much time can you devote for fact checking? Very recently, just probably 5-6 days back, I got a video that of a landslide, and it's a small hill, it's a landslide, and it suddenly came up. So, and it was written, it is Ceylon Guwahati, just a few days back. But there were a few voices in the video which were not of Assamese or English, but some other language. I could not make out. But I thought that it must be, I mean, the person who forwarded it to me, I think many of you might have also received it. The person who forwarded it to me said that it was Shillong Guwahati Road. I thought that it can happen. The way 4 lanes are made, etc. etc. Even near Khanapara, Guwahati, there is a dangerous spot. It may happen some there also. But later on, after 2-3 hours, there was a notification from Meghalaya government and notes from several other of my friends who have said that it was actually not Shillong Guwahati, it was somewhere in Malaysia or Indonesia. Okay, so it is very difficult. So even though I am saying that you can take some of the visuals from citizen journalists or people who forward it to you, but beware of their authenticity. Unless you can establish the authenticity properly, don't go for those. Pallav Bagla is one who usually goes for science news items, which are of day-to-day use, etc. for people. My main point is that nowadays, delivery of news for audiovisual media, even radio, has become very convenient. With a good smartphone, you can record audio as well as you can record visuals and then edit it if you need it on the phone itself and then send the final product to your office. That's a very big advantage. Okay, that is why mobile journalism, or what is called Mojo, is also becoming very popular nowadays. These are developments in technology which are assisting us, facilitating us for better presentation of news and related features. But the question is, there can be no compromise on quality. These are features which are helping us, but ultimately the quality or the pinpointedness, what should be reported and what should not be reported, which visual to be selected and which visuals to be cut off, how the photo has to be cropped, etc., and what to be avoided and on what you have to focus. Those things will still depend on your own personal skills and experience, which you might have learned from others. Okay. Media, I would always insist, has a very complementary relationship with the readers or the society. Both of them have to contribute together to each other's development. Okay, media has to try its best to create a good standard of living or lifestyle for the people, inculcate a good lifestyle for the people, showing them the path that you should do this, that, etc., without being very much pushy. On the other hand, the audience or the readership also has a duty and responsibility that whenever they feel that the media is going astray, away from its own duties, they should be able to point it out to them and tell them that, okay, you should not do this. But here, especially with audiovisual media, because radio as a news medium or even general medium, now it is not getting the focus properly due to it. Okay, the TV is very much there, of course, but again, there is a cliche here. Television is very much an urban phenomenon. In rural areas, still radio is much more popular and important than television. Okay, that is why television has been basically catering to the lower middle class strata of the society and us, like us. Okay, that is why you should try to be very choosy and be very careful while presenting news for television. All the kinds of shouting, dramatic voices, and speaking in a very loud voice to make your point, and just trusting the microphone to anyone and everyone on the street about what do you think. These are not proper means of journalism. The basic attributes of journalism remain the same. You have to go to a proper, the source has to be proper, authentic, and they have to be properly maintained, and you have to take the right aspect and ask them for their views. Okay. So you have to do background research properly and only then approach people. Well, continuing the discussions, let me again stress on the fact that delivery of the product or the piece to camera or whatever you say is very important. Because long time back, I remember Subir Bhomik, who is a very senior journalist, who was a very senior journalist of BBC Radio. Now he is freelancing, and he is from Northeastern region, and wide experiences in reporting, especially in terrorism and secessionist organizations' affairs. He once informed us many years back that whenever any person joins in BBC in a group of trainees, they are always shown a video called, documentary called "What's Your Back." That means it contains many things: how to what to do, what not to do while you are going on an assignment for both radio as well as television with BBC. One few things he told me are still very much impacting my mind, as I myself was also in journalism for quite some time, 4, 5, 6, 7 years to be precise. The documentary says, one of the aspects of the documentary says that whenever you go to watch or cover something, some issues or events, anything, always make sure that you know the proper road to come back, because your physical safety as well as your safety of the equipment which you will be carrying with you are very important. Okay, because if you are going to a very unknown area where a tsunami has taken place, or say maybe an earthquake has taken place, like in Nepal, which happened, tsunami, as you know, in 2004, I believe, 2004 or so, it was a major problem. It happened across many sectors. And probably 4 or 5 years back in Japan, there was a major tsunami. Japan and that area. Okay. So if you are going to an unknown place, you should always make sure that you will be able to come back and deliver your product to your office. Office means your editor. But again, nowadays with satellite television, satellite phones as well as the mobile phones, if you get a connectivity, that is, there is an if you get connectivity, because at disaster time, most of the things do not work. So if you do not get mobile connectivity or radio connectivity, then you have to physically come back to the point where you can get your connectivity and deliver your product to your office. And unless you can deliver your product, whatever great story, whatever big story you try to break out is not going to have any meaning. All your efforts will be wasted. Okay, that is why What's Your Back always insists that whenever you go to cover something, always make sure that you know how to come back. Of course, that may look a bit ridiculous and very stupid here. When you go to the field, then you will be able to know how things are different. It doesn't happen every day, but many a times such occasions will come. Then again, safety of your equipments as well as even the mobile phone. You'll have to keep it safe from natural disasters, lightning. If it is a cyclone, you know how you'll have to work. You may not find any cover for miles and miles of the roads. Okay, so then again, your own safety, that is also very important. That is in fact more important than your equipment safety. Because fine. So those things you should keep in mind. And then we come to something else. Television news is there and non-news, as I have already said. In both the factors, both the genres, even for radio, both radio and television, you can make any experiment. For example, suppose today news reading is done in a news bulletins are conducted or broadcast in a certain way. You may feel that this is not happening properly and people are not getting proper impact, so you can change it. For example, rather than a news reader sitting at the studio and delivering the news, you can directly start news items or delivering news items or showing visuals from the fields if there is anything important happening in the fields. Okay, it may be an agitation, it may be a natural disaster, it may be a political convention or meeting, etc. Even without waiting for the studio, news anchor studio, you can do it from the field on your own. And there has to be a coordinator. If the difference is that if earlier the news anchor was the coordinator, now every reporter who are at the field will be who are at the fields or field sports will be coordinating themselves one by one. Okay. So what I want to say is that even for non-news programs, panel discussions, interviews, etc., you can change the formats any way you like. Only thing is that initially there will be some resistance from people we are always habitual to some specific styles, and we find it a bit difficult to leave those styles and become habitual or comfortable with some new styles. Now, if you run it for some time and if you find that this is more effective, you can change anything. I like to give you a very nice example. I always give it in the class. There is a film called Sur. Sur means S-U-R. Lucky Ali, one actor was there. I forgot the name of the actress. There is a film about singers, budding singers who train with in this person. There, the school principal says that sky is the limit. You can experiment with the melody, etc., the scripts, any way you like. The only thing is that it has to be good to listen to. Similarly, even if you take any medium, say for example, blogging, online, which we will come to later on, television, radio, newspaper, any language, there is no hard and fast rule that only this specific style will be applicable and impactful or attractive to people or popular for people. It can be anything. See, take example. Think of the most familiar and popular persons, either in fiction or non-fiction, which you like in media or otherwise. You will find that if you like the presentations or scripts or the storytelling habits of different persons, you will find that everyone is different. Everyone is speaking the same story in different ways. Similarly, television, radio, newspaper, blogging, anywhere, you can experiment with anything, any change. You try to change the format again and again, make a lot of permutations and combinations and find out which will be more effective and which will be more impactful. Okay. And mind it, out of such a huge readership or audience for all the programs, there will be some portion of the people who would like your particular kind of presentation or writing style or presentation style. Okay. So go by that way and watch television programs also, all the mediums. Every media has its own advantages and disadvantages. So try to explore advantages more than disadvantages, and again try to take disadvantages, try to transform disadvantages into advantages. Okay. Now radio was neglected for a long time, but now it is again making a comeback, but most of the times it is FM radios, which nothing but basically pure and very simple entertainment. And to some extent, I have seen a lot of, I have listened to a lot of FM, private FMs. Many times they are very stupid, I must say. You will have to excuse me for that. But you can make it, you can change it. You can change it to making it something interesting, because most of the FMs are catering to youths. That is a very big advantage and plus point, especially at times of crisis like COVID, etc., etc. This is a very big advantage. So even with television, nowadays web series are becoming very popular. Fine. So after a certain point of time, you may find that television is far lagging behind than web series is for popularity. So Can we think of some new styles in television, radio, print, etc., by which we can explore new horizons? Okay, think about it.